Hi everyone, in this video we are going to add Laravel Socialite into our project, and we are going to use Google login and register function, and we're going to add it into the freshly created Laravel project that we did in the previous video. So far what we did in our test project in the previous videos is we created the project fresh up with a Laravel Livewire Starter Kit, and we added some custom header menu, so we can have like a different style of menu for our static CEO home pages than we would have inside our dashboard pages. So if we open our application itself, then we can see, one second, there we go. So we can see that we do have a home page which says hello world, and we have the login and register pages, and inside the login pages we can log in or register our account accordingly, and we have a blank starting blade file as a default blade file. We also added a couple of menu items in an SPA style, meaning that these kind of single page application style Livewire components. Now what we're going to work on this video is that we are going to create a specific Google authentication button that will allow us to use our Google account in order to sign into our project. Now, Laravel Socialite allows us to use various different drivers. So you're not just limited to Google. You can use Facebook, you can use X, formerly known as Twitter, you can use LinkedIn, you can use GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, and Slack. And by the way, there's also a bunch of community-driven drivers which you can check out in the Socialite provider's website. So there is even driver for Twitch and other stuff if you want to. Now in our case we are just going to work with Google, so all we need to do in this case is that we need to look up Google authentication. So OAuth 2.0, you just type in Google OAuth and it's going to land into this page where it's going to explain what you need to do, and in our case it says that you need to go to the Google API console, and you need to register your application and basically go through the initial steps to order to gather your API key and everything. Now it says join the developer program, unlock AI tools, exclusive training, side access, join today, accelerate your journey. You don't need to do this right now. What you need to do is go to the API console like this. Welcome. So we have a account testing right now for this particular stuff. So we're gonna accept the services. I would like to receive email updates. No, I don't. So I agree and continue. Once I do that, this is your kind of landing page. So you can create a project right here. You go to click create project, and you can name this one. This is Warmer Testing Project, right? So it's going to name it like this as a project ID, no organization. In our case, we can create it, and it's going to create the project for us. Now it's going to take a couple of seconds, up to a minute, so it's going to generate a project for us, and then we go from there to gather out the API keys for ourselves and everything that we need. You already see the notifications, you got a new notification. Now we can go to the credentials right here, okay? And as you can see, there's no API keys yet or anything. What we need to do is configure the consent screen. So if you see here, OAuth consent screen right here, consent screen, we have to get started here. Now we're going to get started. The app name is going to be Warmer Testing App, okay? Support email, you can select an outside support email or the one that you did. We select this Gmail. So let's go next. Audience is going to be external, of course, because you are going to, I assume you're going to do a public application, so you have to select external. Next, contact information. Now this can be anything. You don't need to select your this email. This can be anything. In the first step, you had to select your email. But let's say we select this one. By the way, you can add multiple stuff here, so you can add like this and add more emails. You go next. I agree to the terms, and then let's create it. This will again take a couple of seconds, up to a minute. You will create your project, and now it says you haven't configured any OAuth clients for this project. Now you need to create an OAuth client, right? So application type going to be web application. Again, I give a name like this. That's all that needs to be done. Authorized JavaScript origins. You do not need to fill this because you're working with Laravel. So you don't need the JavaScript origins. You're working with Socialite drivers. Authorized redirect URLs. Now this is going to be your page's redirect URL. So let's add the URL, and this is your domain. So I mean, let's say that you are HTTPS. So let's say that you have your domain, right? So whatever domain you're having build up your application. So let's say that can be like, I don't know, mytestapplication.com/ and that's your redirect URL that you're going to fill up here. And now we're going to go back into our application and let's do the routing for it, right? So inside here, we're not going to use a middleware. So inside our routing, what we're going to do is, first of all, we'll need to have a controller, which you can use just directly, do everything inside the route. But I prefer to use a controller. It gives you a little bit of freedom because you can add your, for example, email notification if you want to. You can do some database stuff in the users table if you want. You can save the Google ID or etc. So better to create a whole new controller for it. Now what we can do is simple. We're just going to use a controller. We haven't created it yet, but let's just call it up. Let me just get this one out. Okay, so up HTTP controllers, and then we are going to call this one I don't know, social controller. How about that? Social controller, just like this. Okay, so obviously it's declared but not used yet. Let's use it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go route, and then we're going to do get, and what we want to give a route for it. Let's say it's going to call this login/Google. So this is going to be the route that they can use to log in. It's not going to be the callback URL yet, it's just the login. So what we can do is we can call this now the social controller. Okay, so we can call this as a class, of course, and then we can do a redirect to Google, or you can call whatever you want the route itself. Up to you how you call it. I call it redirect to Google, and then like this. And of course it's not good because like this. Now it's going to be fine. All right, so now it says that it's undefined type. Yes, because it's, we not created it yet. So what we can do is, so we're going to go to our, let's just terminate this composer dev, and let's do PHP artisan make controller, and we're gonna call this one social controller. Okay, so controller created. Now as you can see, no more error here. So we go to the up HTTP controllers, and then this is the social controller that we created freshly. Now we have the login Google. This is going to be the URL that you navigate your user, let's say from your login page or register page, and then it's going to call the social controller, and it's going to call a function called redirect to Google, which we're gonna create ourselves. Now we need also a callback URL, right? So we're going to do a root, and we're going to do a get, and then let's say we call this login /Google /callback if we want to, and that means that this is going to be our callback URL, and then we can call this the social controller that we created, right? So which is a class, of course, and then let's give it a name like handle Google callback, redirect Google callback, whatever you want to do that. Handle Google callback, yes, call it whatever you want to. This, great. So we get our login and we get our callback URLs. So this right here is essentially what you need to copy to here. So you have your test application slash login slash Google slash callback. And this is going to be the page that once they confirm their authentication will be redirected back. Okay, so let's just add it right now. Can delete later if we want to. Add URL, oops, like this. So we can create it like this. So there you go, we created it. Now we get a client ID. Now if you click here, like this, then you can see the rest of the stuff, not just the client ID itself. So you see the client ID, you also see the client secret, right? So let's continue in our application and let's open our environment details. Now we're going to need a few things here. Now what we need here is that we need to declare our client's ID, our client secret, and our redirect URL. So what we can do a Google client ID, like this. We can do a Google secret, like this. And then we can do a Google callback URL, okay, like this. So this is where you're going to insert your credentials, right? So client ID, you got your client's ID right here. You're going to insert it here. You got your client secret. So let's copy it also, client secret. And then you're also going to insert whatever you inserted here. So your full callback URL. Not with localhost, your full domain, everything. So that's how it's going to be in your environments. Now inside your, let's just go to config, right? And then services. And then inside the services, we're going to add our Google after the Slack, okay? So what we're going to do here is going to do Google, sorry, like this, Google, and then we're going to do a arrow like this, a square bracket, and then we'll do client ID, and the client ID will be your environment, Google client ID, right? And like this, and then of course the rest of the stuff. So let's just make it quick, right? So oops, of course it's not working, not correct, like this, right? Okay, so their client secret, and then whatever your redirect. Okay, so client's ID, client secret, and redirect, and you're going to call the Google client ID right here, Google secret like this, and then you'll call the Google callback URL like this. Easy. And then once you're done, close it like this with a comma at the end, and there you go. You got your client ID variable as from your environment details. This one right here, client ID. Okay, you got your client secret and redirect URL all from here. So you got this, you can close this now. You got this one, you inserted, you got your config variables. We can keep this one open now, but don't need it because we remember it. There we go. Okay, so next step, we have our roots. We have our environment details, declared everything that needs from Google, and we added into our services. So what's the next step? The next step is go to the social controller and actually start creating what we need here, right? So that's going to be actual login, right? So obviously, what we're going to do now is that we're going to create the whole function itself. So let's just do that. So get some space for us, and then we can do the redirect and get the driver. So let's just do public function redirect to Google. Okay, so this is what we actually, like this, this is what we declared right here, redirect to Google. So this is the actual login itself, right? So what we're gonna do here is we're going to call the return Socialite. Did I write it down? Socialite, yeah, Socialite driver, and we're going to use the Google driver, right? And that's going to be an arrow like this type of arrow. I'm gonna call this redirect like this, close it, go like this, and then we're going to close. Yeah, we haven't opened it, just like this. I'll just close it. Okay. So, nope. This. Return Socialite driver Google redirect. Yeah, exactly. And obviously this says that we have not declared it, so let's just declare so it works. So we're going to do use Laravel. Let me just get this reverse slash Laravel Socialite, and then we're going to use the facades Socialite like this. Okay, so that's what you need to declare. Now obviously if you want to use something with a user model, like do something with users themselves, so you can we know already that we also need to do that, so we can just use let's just declare everything that we're going to need, up models, and we're going to use the user model. Okay, so because we need it, like we're going to work with users, so better to declare it right now. Okay, so we declared both of these. We're not using users right now, but it already says that we're using Socialite. Why? Because we declared it here that we are using it. So what we can do next is if we need some date, which I think we're going to use date, because I'm going to need some email verification, so let me just declare. Maybe we not use it in this test one, but I usually do. So let's just do a carbon, because that's what you can get the actual date. What else we can declare here? Authentication, of course, we're going to need it. So use illuminate auth. Yeah, we need illuminate auth, but not like this. We don't need illuminate. We need support. We need facades, and we need auth like this. What else we need? We need also this one right here, str, right? Let's just do like this. What's the issue here? Use illuminate support str. Oh, because we haven't closed this one, right? Right, good. Now this str is just a helper function to work with strings. So if we need it, now obviously this is still says that it's not finding it because we still don't have it. So before we move on and then start the actual whole handling of the URL callback and the verification, what we can do now is let's just open the Laravel documentation of the Socialite, and it says we need to do a composer require Laravel Socialite. So let's just add it into our project. Composer require Laravel Socialite. Now this is going to add Socialite into the project itself. And once we do that, of course, you already can see that now it's have no issue with us declaring this one, because now it's a valid one. It's there. We just added it. Okay, so let's go back composer dev. Well, we don't need it yet, but let's fire it back up, and then let's continue writing our stuff. Okay, so we declared some string helpers. We have some facades for authentication. We have our carbon if we need dates. We have our user models if you want to work with users. Have of course the request by default, and then we also declared the Socialite itself, and we wrote our initial redirect to Google, meaning that once, let's say, you place a button which says login Google, it's going to directly redirect to Google inside this particular controller class, meaning that once you do that, we're going to use the Socialite driver to directly go to Google, and you don't have to write anything other than this one. Of course, you could add this one directly here, so login Google, and then you could, instead of having this socialite, you could just simply do a return socialite driver directly here, and you could technically directly add it into your routing. But why I did that is that we are building either way at the controller, so I like organized stuff. I don't like to directly place even drivers or anything, and that way you would need to obviously declare it and put it in something here, and then you could use the socialite driver here directly. Again, I like being organized, so I don't do that. If I work in with a controller anyway, having a public function takes nothing. All right, so now what we're going to do, now we're going to create our handle Google callback, of course, because that's the second function here. So what we're going to do is going to do a public function. And of course we can comment some stuff here, so we can do like redirect for Google for authentication, okay? And then this one, handling user coming back from Google with their Google ID. Okay, so public function, what we can do for this one is that has to be the name that we declared. Okay, so this. Okay, and then let's do it like this. Good. Now what we need to do here is fairly simple. We are going to do, let's say, first the user. Okay, so obviously declare the user or whatever we work with. So user is going to be socialite this driver, socialite driver Google, and then an arrow like this, and user, and then close it, of course. Too much like this, thank you. Okay, so user is a socialite driver Google user. So actually the user that coming from back from Google is going to be our user, right? So let's just go another line, and then what we can do, let's declare an auth user, right? And auth user is the authenticated user, which is our user model, of course. And then we can do a first or fail. No, first or new. Why you're not auto-filling me? Either way. First or new, and what we can do now is that let's open brackets and then also do square like this, and inside what we can do is we call this email, right? So email with an equal arrow like this, user, and then a single arrow like this, get email, okay? And then we close it like this, we close it like that, we close it like that, and we close, oops, one less. We close it like this. Okay, good. Now what does this does? It says user is socialite driver Google user that's coming back from the one that we redirected to, and it says the auth user is actually the user table or the user model, sorry, first or new, where email is the user get email from here. And what does this do is that basically it's going to declare that who is the auth user with the email, of course. Now what we can say right now, let's do like this, let's comment one line, check if the user already exists. So what we can do is if the user is not exist, create. Okay, so let's do an if like this of user exist. Okay, so if the auth user is not exist, okay, then what we can do, let's open a bracket. No, this one, yes, sorry, my keyboard is really bad, I need to buy a new one. So if auth user exists, then what we can do is let's assign a temporary password, okay, obviously, because I think that's needed, because when you log in with Google, you need to have a temporary password. Okay, or register with Google, you're still going to have your same table structure. Let me just open the database, right? So you're still going to have your kind of structure inside your database. And what I mean by that specifically is that let me just enlarge it a little bit, you're still going to need a password. And obviously you have an email and a name. These two are you getting out from Google, but you still need a password. So what we can do in this case is assign a random password. Okay, we can do a temporary password variable, and we're gonna call this one like this generate temporary password, and it's going to be a function, of course, and then we'll do the function later on. So we are going to generate a random temporary password. Gonna call the auth user, okay, like this, so auth user right here, and then we're going to get the name of it, okay. So the name is going to be the user, like this. Oh, come on, I really need to buy a new keyboard, this is ridiculous. Okay, so user get name, like this, and then which is going to actually, because it's my keyboard is really bad, let me just get a couple of these. Okay, so what we name, the name is going to be the user get name, the password, okay, password is going to be equals bcrypt temporary password, and then close it, and then do like this. Oops, like this. Yeah, good. So the password that we generated with this function is going to be used with bcrypt to make a secure password, and then insert it like this into the password. So it's going to use the same way that you would basically when you go to Laravel and you register your user account. So for example, if we go back into Laravel and we just register our test account in the sign up, it's going to be the password going to be hashed down like this, and that's what bcrypt does. So back to password, we're done. So we needed email, we needed password, and of course this comes the part where, like, if you want to have verified users, I assume you do so, like if you don't, skip this method. So what you can do, you open the users table, and then you outcomment this one, use must verify email, because that's what you need to outcomment. And here all you need to do is that once you outcomment it, that you need to write implements like this, implements must verify email. Okay, so that's it. Basically, that's all you need to do. Implements must verify email. And already, if we do that, and let's say we are logging into our test account that we just registered, okay, it says please verify your email. Obviously, if you would outcomment this, so you would not see must verify email, then you could technically just go into your implements, sorry. So if you would do that, then you would directly can go into the dashboard. But of course, if you implement the must verify, that means implements must verify email. That means that you need to be verified. So you see right away, it says that you need to be verified. Okay, so we needed this. We want verification in our case. So what we can do right now is that we also in my theory, if they log in with Google account, it means they own the Google account email, obviously. In normal cases, in a normal Laravel application, when you register, as you've seen it here, it literally says to you that please verify your email address by clicking the link that emailed to you. And you need to click the email link and then you verify. But if they're coming from Google, they own the Google account, so it makes no sense. So in this case, what we can do is that email verified at is going to be updated, and that comes the part where I said to declare carbon at the top, because we're going to use carbon now like this. Okay, so we're going to use the current time, meaning that once they log in with their Google account, we directly going to add the email verified at the current date, meaning that like this current date going to be automatically added to it, and that means that they can now go into the dashboard because they are verified. Okay, so that's all it takes. And then what we can do is auth user, and then as simple as save like this, and then now it's saved. Okay, so other thing that we could do, and there comes the part where you could send like an email to the user. So this is the part where you actually could implement some kind of email notification, meaning that if they verified with Google account and it's created, you could send them a welcome email. So in our case, I like to work with mailable classes, right? That's just what I like. Okay, so and if we do that, if we're working with mailable classes, that's going to be the next video. But then I would, at that case, do something like a use illuminate. Just get this. What would I do here is that illuminate support facades / mail. I would declare a mail here right now. Okay, so and that would mean that I'm just do like this. Okay, and if I created a mail class, that would be the time when I would declare the actual mail class, obviously mail, and that would be, I don't know, welcome email with password. Okay, whatever it might be, right? And that would be the time where here I could write the actual mail here, meaning that I could do a mail to, and I could do the auth user. So I'm sending a mail to the auth user like this, and then email, and then I close this one, and then I do send, and that could be the new welcome, whatever I said that here, this one here, welcome email with password, and I could do the auth user, like I said, auth user, again auth user, and then it could be the temporary password. Okay, so yeah, like this. So that could mean that 1, 2, and close it at the end. No, set close it at the end. Like this. Obviously not with dots, but with this one. Yeah, I guess. Send to auth user, email, send, new welcome with password, auth user, temporary password, blah blah blah. So this could be where this could be the actual mailer, and then you send your particular mail out. But obviously we're not going to do that now. That's going to be a next stuff for the next video. What we need to do, we can close this one, oops, like this. Okay, and then obviously we need to do this particular function, so let's just continue with that. And actually before we do that, what we can do here is, because we are working with verified emails, like I said before, let's just do a command, and we can say ensure email verification is set. So what I'm saying is that this particular stuff right here, it means that if the user is not registered, we're going to create it. We're going to create it with a temporary password, with the name, the password. We're going to set the email verified to the current date, and we save it. Okay, simple as that. Sure, sounds right. But what if they have an account already? Let's say they are at this stage. Let me just null this one back on. Okay. Yeah, let me just null this one out. Okay, so let's say they are at this stage. They just newly freshly registered, and they have this one right here. I want to place a button which says that log in with your Google and you're gonna be auto verified if you don't want to mess around with the emails. And because of that, I like to do this. I like to offer this. Because of that, what we can do is that we say that if they log in, not register, so this is obviously register, we had the email verified, but if they log in only, I also want to verify it. Okay, so what we can do in this case is that I say if auth user email email verified at like this null, so it's literally a null. Then what I want to do, I hate my keyboard still, then what I want to do is that I want to do auth user, and I want to do the email verified at, oops, to be a carbon now, right? Oops. And then what I want to do is, of course, auth user, and I save it up, okay? So like this. Yeah. So that's simple. It says that if it's null, then do the current one and then save it down. Okay, same that we did here, except that this is for register and this is for login. Okay, so if it's already exists, of course, fail-safe mechanism. And now we can do a comment says log in the user. Simple as that. What we're gonna do is auth. That's why we declared on the top this one right here, which says that we are not using, but we will use soon. So auth, and then login, and then what we're going to do is do auth user like this, true. Okay, and that's it. We are logging in the user. That's all, not much to explain. And then what we can do is redirect to wherever you want to. So this is where you redirect whatever you want to. So in our case, redirect, return redirect, return redirect, return redirect, and we're going to redirect the user to slash dashboard or wherever you want the user to be navigated to. In our case, of course, it's the dashboard page. So that's all it takes. And now the other function that we need to create is going to be the generate temporary passwords. Now, of course, this is not a public function, but a private function. Private function like this, okay? And then let's do, oops. Okay, so what we're going to do here for the random password generation, what we can do here is we say letters, okay? So we can declare the letters that are going to be used. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z, right? And then, of course, the capital version of them, right? So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Okay, so these are the letters that can be used. For numbers, we can do 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, of course. Let's close it like this. Let's close this one also like this, okay? And of course, put them into a bracket. Sure. So, and then what we can do, let's say password, right? As a variable, can be an str, so the string helper. This is exactly what I said, declare it, because we're working with strings as a password, I knew. So string, and then what we're going to do a random 6 letters like this. Oops, like this, right? Yeah, 6 letters. You can comment this to be, say, 6 random letters, okay? And then declare it again, password, and then you do like this, and then you do str again, and then you do random, and then you do 2, and then you do numbers, okay? Numbers. Close it, this, and then you do 2 random digits, okay? and then you return password, of course. So what does this do in a nutshell is that it's going to create, I just keep forgetting to put these ones into brackets. Okay, so what it's going to do is going to create a random 6 random letter and 2 random digit number, and then it's going to return it as a variable called password. And that means that when we initiate the function right here, temporary password, this generate password, it generates a random 6 letter 2 number combination of password, and it's going to return it as a password. Simple as that. And this part right here is basically the dot equal, is basically saying that you declare the password, which is a 6 random letter, take it as it is, the previously declared one, so like this one, and then append the 2 letter after 2 random number afterwards. So it's kind of putting them together. That's why you see 2 variables declared, because you declare a variable, you set 6 random letters, and then with this PHP call, basically you're taking this and you're adding 2 more numbers on top of it. Okay, so and you return a password, and then you turn the password, and then you're going to use the password right here. So that's I think we are done. Like that's all it takes. Obviously it has a HTTP request which is not used yet, yeah, so we don't care about it right now. That's all it takes for a social controller to be working. We can save that up. What it means is going to go to Google, this one, login Google, going to go to social controller, going to redirect with the driver to Google, and then inside Google, where is our Google? Where are you, Google? This is the domain that it has a redirect URL. So from Google, it's coming back up into the login Google callback URL, which gets redirected to this one right here. Is going to bring the good old Google ID with them, which we don't care about. We don't save. We don't do any of it. You could add here inside that you want to save the Google ID. I don't want to save it for what. All I care about is the user name and the user email address. I don't really care about anything else, right? So that's kind of what I think is important at this case. We created a user correctly, everything is fine here, so we can do a testing. And of course we didn't write email here because the email is already here. So this kind of controller, it's going to be perfectly working as it is. And of course, it's going to use our services folder. So the config services folder, where is it? Config services folder, where it's going to look for the Google driver will look for the Google here, and it's going to go back into the environment details to grabbing it. Now, of course, last one. Oh yes, we need to add the button, of course, yes. All right, so now what we're going to do is that we're going to go to our login page. So login page, and I want to place a button right here for the actual login. So let's just go here. Let's open the login page. So this is our front end page for the login itself. We're using Flux component library, of course. So you got your header, your form submit, etc. And at the bottom, there is the actual login button. Okay, so you got the login button right here. And now we're going to add our own button. Okay, so what we can do is that we can add it somewhere, let's say outside of the form. We don't need it inside the form at all. So we're just going to add it above this register right here. So let's do a div class. Let's just give it a text center, of course, like this, and then we're gonna do a Flux button. Of course, we're using Flux, so why not use Flux button. And then let's do a type. It's going to be button, like this, type button. No. Yeah, like this, type button. We'll do a class for it. Okay, so it's going to be w full. Get the full width of the placeholder, and then we're just going to do an on click, which is going to be window, location, href, and then we're going to call this one this /login/Google, and then we'll close that one, and then we'll close that one. And that would be the place to actually, you could place some icons if you want to, so like an image source you could do here, a nice image source if you want to. We're not gonna do that, so we're just going to do like a double bracket, and inside the double bracket we are going to do like this, and we're going to call this one login. Like this. We're going to call this one login with Google. Oops. Like this. And then we'll of course need to close the button at the bottom. Okay, so we're going to go like this, Flux, button, and then we'll close it, and then we'll close the div, of course. I'm gonna leave open a div if my keyboard allows me to. Okay, so that's about it that I wanted to do. Yeah. Alright, so let's try it out. What we can do is that we are here in this login page, so we click login with Google, and of course it brings us to the actual Google sign-in. We select our account, gets redirected back. Now of course I don't have the my test application.com set up and everything, but it does work. This is the exact method I'm using for this social controller for my own projects, and that's how I'm logging in people with Google or Twitch. I use this with Facebook and Twitter. I did this with many different ones, so it does work. You would just select this one and then you get directed back, but of course it's going to direct to mytestapplication.com/Google callback state, and it gets you. But of course, because the my test application doesn't work, it does not work that way. But I have some project that I'm working on, so we do have a project set up here, so I can log in with the Google one, this, next, and there you go, we are logged into the application. So it does work. I hope I helped to some of you with this one. This is how you set up Socialite authentication for Google Driver specifically. Now of course this is a little bit different with each of the providers. Not much difference. Some difference are, for example, how you gather your client ID. So for example, if we go to our environment, like how you gather your secret and the client ID and etc. is a little bit different at Twitch, because in Twitch, as far as I know, no, in X, like Twitter, because you need like a bearer token there or something, is a bit different. And also you can do the same with Meta, so Facebook or Instagram, like Facebook login. Specifically, I used Facebook before, but at the end, the same controller can be used. All you need to do is you get this redirect to Google, and then you add more of these. So when you have like more one, you can do like this, redirect to, I don't know, Twitch, or redirect to X, and you would do the X driver, you would do the Facebook driver, you would do the GitHub driver, etc. And instead of handle Google callback, you would do a handle social callback, and then inside you would do a user socialite, and you would do some different. You made sure that you have a Google user, Facebook user, X user, etc., and save details accordingly. Now you have to keep in mind though that not every OAuth going to respond you with email. So for example, with Facebook or Twitch, for example, not Twitch, with Facebook specifically, and Twitter, X, formerly known as Twitter, it's possible that you're not going to receive an email back. Like 99% of the times you're going to receive an email back. But because before Facebook and X, like formerly Twitter, allowed people to actually register with their phone alone and nothing else, it's possible that you going to authenticate them, but you don't get any email because you're going to get just a phone because they don't have email linked. It's very low amount of people who has it, but before it was like this, people were allowed to do that. Not anymore, but there are still accounts without email. And also, if you have a, I don't know, Telegram social driver, which is not first party driver, Telegram also can just respond with phone numbers. You have to keep in mind. That's why I would start with Google, everyone. Get the Google email out. That's legit. You know 100% they own the email if they log in with Google, and use that email like how I explained in this video. It's very straightforward. I hope I helped everyone. That's how you add social login into your Laravel project, specifically Google login to your Laravel projects. I hope you enjoyed it. I see you in the next video, and happy building, everyone.